This may get me into trouble, but today I'm going to be talking about some of the unethical behavior in the real estate industry as well. March came in like a lamb, but it may go out like a lion. All this and more coming up right here, right now on Live at Lunch. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm your host, Lambros Demos. And boy, oh boy, just a lot of stuff to talk about today. And I've been avoiding talking about it before because I wasn't sure if it was true or not. Um, there's a viral post going around. You may or may not have seen it. It's about a realtor in Brampton who is talking with someone else via text conversation, and the whole thing is screenshotted. And basically, the realtor is offering this guy or whoever it is he's talking to, or maybe it's a she, I don't know, 250 to $500 to put in a fake offer on a listing that's getting multiple offers. Okay. If it sounds bad, it is. If it sounds unethical, it absolutely is unethical. This kind of stuff has no place in our industry. And again, the problem is I don't know if these screenshots are real. They can easily be faked. But what's disturbing, it's disturbing on many levels, but reading some of the comments on these posts, and people are saying this happens all the time. It's not the first time, et cetera, et cetera. So maybe there is some truth to it. I don't know. I've never encountered it, at least not knowingly, right? I've been part of many, many multiple offer situations, both on the selling side and on the buying side. But I've never had an experience, or at least knowingly not, that some fake offers have been coming in. Um, Having said that, one client did ask me one time to submit a fake offer. I quickly shot that down because that's not, I don't want no part of that, right? So, and that's highly, highly unethical. We do have a code of ethics, believe it or not, in our industry. Um, so, but some people, I guess they don't care, or they think they're above that just to make a quick buck. And all this, you know, propagates the bad karma and the bad, I guess, perception of real estate agents in, at least in Ontario, if not everywhere else. And that's why I put up a story last night about how much trust do you have in a real estate agent. I was just curious to see what people's responses would be. And out of a number of people saw the story, not a single person clicked on it, which is very, very interesting. Did they not click on it because they don't trust real estate agents at all? It's zero, or they just, they don't know. They don't want to say. Maybe, I don't know. It's very curious, and it's very disturbing. As is this viral post that's going around. Like I said, it's disturbing on many levels. So essentially, like I said, this realtor is offering this guy $250 to $500 to submit an offer on a listing, and he says he has dozens of people doing it. You know, um, and then he goes on to say something in his native language, which translates to everything is fair in business, because the guy on the other end of the conversation is putting up resistance. He's saying, "Are you sure that's okay? Are you sure that's legal?" He's saying, whatever, blah blah blah, in his, like I said, in his language, and said, when you translate it, it says everything is fair in business. Well, it's not. That's highly unethical, and it's not something that we should be tolerating in real estate here in Ontario. I mean, our governing body went so far as to overhaul all the legislation, right? So the Real Estate Council of Ontario, RECO, they actually took our original act, the Real Estate Business and Brokers Act, and overhauled it, even changed the name of it to Trust and Real Estate Services Act, to address situations like this. but more needs to happen. That is clearly not enough. And there's several reasons why, because all these bad actors who would rather lie, cheat, steal, and deceive people and their clients in order to get a commission check, changing the act is not going to stop them. A slap on the wrist is not going to stop them, right? Our industry has deeper holes and bigger problems to fix versus changing the act and just giving us more paperwork, because that's all this act accomplishes, is giving us realtors more paperwork to do. So from that standpoint, it really does nothing. And if these people want to break the law, they're going to find a way to break the law anyway, right? So, so that's very disturbing. So what can you do, to protect yourself from these bad actors in real estate? Because obviously the trust level is not there. The one thing you can do is, and now it sounds like I'm, basically contradicting myself, but you have to find an agent that you trust and make sure that agent is working for you and only you. Okay, because a lot of people say, oh, I'll just go to the listing agent. But the listing agent's job is to get the best price and terms for the seller. They're not looking out for you as the buyer, they're looking out for the seller. Okay, so you have to understand that part. You may save 2.5% on the purchase price of the property, but who cares if you're paying 5% more over market value on that property? You're actually spending more money by going directly to the listing agent as opposed to having someone representing your interest and negotiating for you. Okay. And this person, this agent that you hire, has to do their own valuation of the property that you're going to put an offer on. Okay. So for example, if a house is listed for $899,000, but the true market value is $950,000, then by all means put in your offer at $950 or whatever you want. But if the value of the property is actually $900, then your agent will determine that and tell you this property is only worth $900. Yeah, there's 10 other offers on it, but I don't advise you to go above this, right? As opposed to being influenced by the listing agent saying, oh, there's 10 other offers, you better ante up, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. So don't trust anyone else's valuation of the property. Ignore the listing price. Listing price means absolutely nothing. Have your agent do a proper valuation of the property to determine what the market value is so that you can submit your offer at that market value. Now, the risk there is you may not get the property, but at the same time, would you rather overpay for that property or not get it, right? So that's a risk that you have to take and something you need to discuss with your agent. Right? So I would not push someone into overpaying for a property. That's simply not worth it, because you will find other ones, especially these days, because once we get into the stats, you'll see there are a lot more listings coming up. So that aside, that's the proper way to deal with this garbage that's going out there. If there's fake offers, we don't know if the offers are real or fake. Do the proper valuation of the property and put your offer in at that valuation, right? And don't let outside sources influence your price. We still have a blind bidding system in Ontario. Part of this overhaul that I mentioned earlier, TRESA, Trust and Real Estate Services Act, allows for the seller to now release the contents of the other offer, the details like price and conditions and closing date. But a lot of sellers don't do that, and they don't have to do that. So that's the part you have to understand. It's up to the seller to decide to release these details or not. And if it doesn't benefit the seller to do so, they're not going to do so, right? They're still going to maintain the blind bidding because they want to make sure that they get the highest price for that property that they're selling, right? Which no one can blame them for that. Any one of us would do the same thing to try and maximize the return on your investment, right? So that's the way it works. But it doesn't mean that people have to overpay for it. Okay, so remember that the asking price is not market value. Okay, there's a huge difference between the two. And the other reason why this is disturbing, and I touched on it earlier, is because it promotes hate. It promotes hate not only of our industry, but I think it was created, and this is just my opinion from the posts that I've been seeing and from the comments that I've been reading. Um, I think this was created in order to promote that hate for a certain demographic, because it clearly has the language, the foreign language in these screenshots, right? So it's trying to paint a picture of a certain demographic and realtors in a bad light, right? So that's why I'm not posting it. Like I'm not going to post it because we don't know if it's real or fake, right? So that's the big issue here. So all we can do is protect ourselves, and you as a consumer need to protect yourself by hiring somebody that you trust in order to look out for you. Because there's so much crap going on out there, a lot of crap. I'm part of several Facebook groups, and I can't even begin to Facebook groups for realtors. I can't even begin to tell you what the incompetence level is like in these Facebook groups, right? So um, people don't even know how to fill out a basic form. People don't even know how to log into the MLS. They're asking just stupid questions, right? So there's over 73,000 realtors registered with the Toronto Real Estate Board. And last year there was only 66,000 sales happening. So there's more realtors than there were transactions last year. So that doesn't look good at all. And even if you double the number of transactions, because there's two sides to every transaction, there's a purchase and a sale side, right? So that's 132,000 transactions divided by the number of realtors, 73,000. That's still less than 2 deals per agent on average. Okay, so where's the experience for all these people? How are these people staying in business? It's the barrier to entry for our industry is nothing. It's a joke, right? If you can fog up a mirror and answer a few multiple choice questions, then boom, you're in. You got your license. And there's a whole focus on just passing the real estate exam and getting your license, right? There's even a cheating system in place. I call it a cheating system. Other people call it pass it. Oh, you take pass it and you can pass the exam. Okay, great. Now you pass the exam. Then what? I mean, you got your license. What are you going to do? How are you going to represent your clients properly and ethically? So it's absolutely ridiculous. People just want to get their real estate licenses, get out there, and grab a commission or two, and call it a day. That's the real problem with our industry right now. The governing bodies and the powers that be need to really clamp down on this kind of crap. And if they ever catch whoever's doing this kind of stuff, they should come down hard on them, get rid of them completely. None of this slap on the wrist stuff. None of this, go take a course and that's it. If you go on the RECO website, Real Estate Council of Ontario website, you will see a list of names of real estate agents who have been disciplined and the kind of, discipline that they got, whether it's a suspension, whether it's a fine, whether it's, take a course, just stupid things like that, if you're ever interested. So we are Vision of Hope. Tarek, hey, thanks for joining me, buddy. Lack of inventory. Great question. There is still a lack of inventory in these parts here. I can only speak to the area that I trade in. So there is a lack of inventory, yes. I'm assuming you're referring to the lack of deals that happened last year. Yes, so absolutely right. That's a big part of it, 100%. But I was just referring to the lack of experience as well, because when there's so few sales going on and so many agents out there, part-time agents, the person that you hire, yeah, they may have been in business for 10 years, but if they've done one deal or less for those 10 years, where's the experience, right? So how can they represent you properly if they spend most of their time, driving an Uber or, delivering pizzas or something like that? And that's not to pick on Uber drivers or pizza delivery drivers. You do what you can to earn a living, especially in these hard economic times. I get it. I just think in our industry, we shouldn't allow part-time agents because they can't represent their clients properly. They're only going to be representing them part-time. And that leads to crap like this. It leads to incompetence and it leads to unethical behavior. So, and Valerie Caboris, thank you for your comment. This is the biggest purchase of your life. 100%. Yeah, absolutely. It's the biggest purchase of your life. So why do we allow somebody to use a cheating system like Passit to get their real estate license and then go out there and help you with the biggest purchase of your life, when in fact they don't even know what they're doing? The real estate courses and the exams don't prepare you for this industry. So there's the biggest issue there that I have. All right. If there's any other questions, I'm happy to take them now, or as we go on, feel free to ask your questions. Angela, thank you for your question. Thanks for joining me. How are unethical actions discovered or exposed? Ooh, great question. Great question. We do have a reporting system. You can report the unethical behavior to RECO, which is the Real Estate Council of Ontario. The problem is sometimes us agents can't report other agents. We have to go through our broker of record. So if I discover something unethical going on, I'll go to my broker of record and say, hey, Carlo, this, and this. I have to show him the proof. There has to be some kind of evidence, right? And he's going to either get in contact with the other agent's broker of record and hash it out, or report it to the Real Estate Council of Ontario. That's from my end. As a consumer, you are also allowed to report directly to the Real Estate Council of Ontario. And that's been rolled in with the new rules as well. There's this information guide that we now have to give out to every potential client that outlines the complaint system, right? So if you come across anybody who's unethical or doing something shady in our business, please report them. We have to stop these bad actors. We have to, fight back, because this is absolutely, there's zero tolerance for this kind of crap, in our industry. Similar to a whistleblower report, does that put the reporter at any risk? Great question. There may be, I'm not 100% sure, but there may be an option to do it anonymously. I don't know. That's something you need to ask RECO. I know if an agent does it and goes through their office and their broker of record, then we can't do it anonymously. But from the public, maybe. And that's a great question. I should look into that and see if the public can, in fact, do it anonymously. Thanks for that. I'll look into it. No problem. No problem at all. Okay. Keep up with the questions. I'm happy to answer more questions as we go along. That's not a problem. And even if I'm not live anymore, then if you're watching on the replay, by all means ask your question and I will get to it as soon as possible. I just want to move along now onto the stats here. As I said off the top, March came in like a lamb, more so than a lion. It usually comes in like a lion and leaves like a lamb, but that's kind of a bit of the reverse going on here, because we did see an increase in activity in the last 2 weeks of February, right? But now in these first almost 2 weeks of March, it's been relatively slow compared to the last 2 weeks of February. So I'm not sure what's going on. Maybe people are waiting for interest rates to come down. Maybe they were anticipating a drop in interest rates, and that's what they're waiting for. But it all boils down to the market being less competitive, which still is a good time for buyers. We saw inventory go up in Toronto about 8% and about 4% in Peel region. But we saw sales go up only 2.5% in Toronto and about 5% increase in sales in Peel region. Showing activity also went up, but that's more in line with the with the new listings, right? So if listings went up 8%, in Toronto, showings went up 7%. Listings went up 4% in Peel region, and showings went up about 2%. So that's expected. But what's interesting is that offers actually came down. So we had fewer offers in these last 2 weeks versus the previous 2 weeks at the end of February there. And we had a drop of 5% in Toronto in offers and a drop of about 6.5% in Peel region of offers. So that means that in the last 2 weeks of February in Toronto, we were seeing about 2.75 offers for every sale. Now it's dropped to about 2.5. In Peel region, in February, we saw about 3.3 offers for every sale. Now it's down to just under 3 offers for every sale. So a little bit less competitive, coming down, and that's a good opportunity for buyers, because I believe, and a number of other people believe, that once interest rates do start coming down, you're going to see the buyers come back into this and then start putting more offers in. All right. So I don't see any other questions here. And days on market actually is down as well. So it's down about 2 days, both in Toronto and in Peel region. Average price is up. So maybe more expensive low-rise homes are selling versus condos. So the price I'm not going to worry about too much because it all depends on what type of properties are being sold out there. All right. I think that's all the points I wanted to make for today. But before I let you go, I just want to reiterate something that I've been saying the last couple of weeks, and what I mentioned earlier today is, as someone mentioned earlier in this in these comments, buying or selling a home, that's probably the largest financial transaction that you're going to make in your lifetime, right? So you need to have somebody on your side to help you do that. It's not like walking into Walmart and buying, a TV or something like that. This is buying a house. You're probably going to have a mortgage on it for 30 plus years, and it's going to be probably your most expensive monthly carrying cost, the mortgage. So you want to make sure that you do this properly, right? And the real estate agent that you hire needs to be working for you as the consumer, as the client, as the purchaser, or the seller, in order to get the best deal for you, and not the other side. Okay, and that person has to be experienced and has to be competent because they know what they're doing in order to do that, to look out for you and to get the best deal for you, right? But not only that, they have to care about you. Okay, they have to care about you and your family and understand your situation, so that they can take some of the pressure off of you and take some of the stress off you. Otherwise, this is going to be such an overwhelming experience for you, and it's going to be very stressful. And you may get ripped off, and nobody wants that, right? So make sure that they're competent, make sure they're experienced, make sure they care about you and show true care and understanding about your situation. All right, because you deserve to move into that next property without all that extra pressure. That's great. Thank you very much for watching, for all those tuning in. Have a fantastic day. It's a beautiful day out there, nice and sunny. Enjoy it. Take care.